Om Shanti, how are you? So, people are constantly being brainwashed into thinking that it is the path that matters. Destination does not matter at all. And unfortunately, the people who gives this advice don't follow it. That's the reason they are able to achieve a position in their life. And it is because they have reached that position, you are listening to him. So you have to think for yourself whether you should follow his word or his action, because their words doesn't match with their actions. For instance, if you take a pilgrim going to a pilgrimage, so what is his destination? To reach a certain pilgrimage place. If he gets intoxicated on whatever he sees on his path, do you think he will be able to complete his pilgrimage? So his mind would be corrupted with the thoughts that was triggered by whatever he saw on the way. That is not the right way to do a pilgrimage, right? When you are in a pilgrimage, you constantly think about the deity towards whom you are going. Only then you will enjoy the path. But if you want to take pleasure from seeing the sightseeings on the path of pilgrimage, you may get temporary pleasure, and pretty soon you will end up being depressed, because everything around us is not going to be fine all the time. They are not going to give you pleasure all the time. On the other hand, if your focus is only on the deity, which is your destination now, then you will remain constantly happy no matter what happens on your path. Just to reach the pilgrimage, you have to take so much care to detach yourself from the sightseeings on the pilgrimage. Just think about the higher destination you need to reach. If you start believing those who misguide you into believing that destination does not matter, then it is pretty sure you can never achieve anything in life. The main difference between the smart student and the rest is the smart student doesn't let his mind get disturbed by whatever he sees or listens, while the rest just let their minds distract by anything that they encounter. The smart student, after going to his home, he refreshes himself and start reading and doing homeworks, while the rest of the students As soon as they reach home, they turn on the television or they start playing with the mobile gadgets. So, without even realizing, they will spend the whole day remaining unconscious in front of the electronic gadgets. And the next day, when they go to school, they will be surprised about how the smart student is able to finish all the homeworks on time while they find no time. What is the secret? They just get distracted on the path towards the destination, in this case, finishing homework on time. While the bright student derives pleasure in reaching his target. So he doesn't bother about renouncing the instant pleasure that mobile phone gives. But still, he stayed happy throughout because he has the clear destination. That makes him the successful person, while those who try to enjoy the path, they end up being a big loser. So, when your mind is so hooked onto the destination, you wouldn't mind the obstacles that comes your way, because nothing can hide the destination from your sight, because it is so fixed in your mind. So that keeps you motivating continuously towards that destination. But if you let your mind distracted by anything, then you cannot enjoy the process and you cannot reach the destination. And now God gives us the highest destination. What is that? To become Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan. Who are they? They were the king and queen of the entire world when this world was heaven 5000 years back. This is the 5000 year time cycle called Kalpa, in which the first half of the Kalpa was heaven and the last half is hell, where we live now. And that is the reason we see suffering all around. But the good news is God comes just 100 years before the end of Kali Yuga, or this old world. Why? Because God wants us to save us from this hell and take us back to heaven, where we originally came from. While in heaven, we were constantly happy because we were not distracted by anything around us, although everything around us gave us nothing but happiness. Men and women were so beautiful, but still we did not let that beauty distract us. How was that possible? Because we were constantly soul conscious back then. That is, we considered ourselves to be the souls that shine like a tiny star in between the eyebrows. And that is the reason why Hindus apply a red dot in between the eyebrows called bindi. And they were constantly happy because happiness is the true nature of the soul. They continued to experience happiness from within for the first 2500 years. And that is the reason they were content all the time, and the heaven continued to be heaven for the first 2500 years. After that, the world slowly becomes hell because we become body conscious. So we no longer experience pleasure from within. So we needed something external to us to make us happy. That is how we become addicted to sensual pleasures. God comes just 100 years before the destruction of this old world to save us from getting destroyed, to save our souls from getting destroyed. God says, "You were so pure in heaven, but after taking several rebirths, you have become completely impure now." But the good news is, God teaches us the method to become completely pure again. What is that method? God says, "Consider yourselves to be the soul and not as a body anymore." Because it is the soul that sees through the eyes, speaks through the mouth, performs all acts through this body. After considering ourselves to be souls, remember God as a point of light. Because He is also a soul just like you and me. The only difference is, God does not take birth through a mother's womb like us. Instead, He enters an old man's body directly and gives this teaching. He names that old man as Brahma. And whoever listens to the direct teachings of God are called Brahma Kumars and Brahma Kumaris. And the essence of the direct teaching of God is nothing but stay soul conscious and remember God as a point of light. That's it. What happens by staying in remembrance of God? We slowly become soul conscious. We slowly get detached from everything. So, after some point, we will start experiencing happiness from within. We would no longer depend on external things for happiness. That is when the world gets renewed back into heaven. God comes to make us eligible to take birth in heaven. It is not enough just to take birth in heaven, but we need to claim the highest status of heaven, which is the status of Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan. All we need to become Sri Lakshmi or Sri Narayan is to become fully soul conscious. How is that possible? By considering ourselves to be souls and remembering God as a point of light throughout the day. So now we have the destination to claim the highest status of heaven, because Lakshmi and Narayan were the queen and king of heaven. So that is our destination. How do we achieve that? By being in remembrance of God, we achieve that. There will definitely be obstacles. Everything around us is going to distract us from remembering God. But if your focus is so attached to your destination, then you will never ever get distracted by anything that happens in this old world. And by focusing on destination all the time, you will start getting so intoxicated. This will make our souls very powerful. On the other hand, people try to become happy by watching movies or by chatting with friends. They may get temporary happiness, but it will deprive your soul of the power. But getting happiness by remembering God is going to strengthen our soul, and we will be constantly happy. You can never be constantly happy if you depend on external things for you to stay happy. So, my dear brothers and sisters, you will get the direct knowledge of God through Brahmakumari's Rajyog meditation centers. You can Google the nearest address of the Brahmakumari's Rajyoga meditation center in your area and rush to it. It is absolutely free. And you can also access the direct knowledge of God through several websites and YouTube channels. We will be giving the links of some of them in the description below. So please make use of it. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.